on the right. He's on a 4-card hand, so we'll see if he gets to play here.
4 is not that many cards.
Gerry starts out and on the play, so he'll forest and 3 cards. Can Gerry put enough things together? Now remember, no one's particularly fast in this matchup. Sean doesn't have any great trumps that happen early, and if Gerry can get, say, like a Courser of Kruvix, he, in theory, could pull back into this.
This game's go on for a very long time. Gerry's got a couple of powerful trumps in the matchup, a lot of sources of card advantage. Being on 4 cards is really bad news, no two ways about it, but the nature of this matchup gives Gerry a better shot here, 4 cards against 7, than in a lot of other matchups. I think, for example, an Obs-on beatdown mirror match, that's really bad to be on 4 cards. Even Obs-on control, but here, Gerry can play.
What a draw for Gerry. So turn 2 carry added for Gerry and Fleece main line for Sean. And Gerry plays Courser before making land drop, sees Den Protector on top, so not going to get a free card just yet. But maybe that Courser can pull him all the way back. If he scores enough free cards off it, there's a shot.
It's asking a lot, but at a certain point, when these decks make their land drops, the who mulligan, what's the card advantage count, it sort of gets fuzzy. So many cards, these decks see so many cards, and sometimes Courser can be a big hit, sometimes not. Again, it's very possible for Gerry to pull back in. All
right. Foul Tongue Invocation on the top of Sean's deck. Gerry draws for the turn. He draws Den Protector, sees Death Mist Raptor on top. His hand is Stratus Dancer, Den Protector. He's going to go ahead and just make a morph and pass the turn.
And I love this morph play from Gerry here because he's seen Den Protector. Sean saw it the last turn via the Courser.
Right, but it's not Den Protector, it's Stratus Dancer.
So it is possible here for Sean to get tripped up if he's just assuming that's Den Protector.
That said, Sean with a pretty great curve here. He does have the Courser on top. Neither player's Coursers are scoring free cards, but Sean does have a lot of great plays in the form of Siege Rhino, Soren. He's going to make a lot of really quality threats and does stand a shot of just overpowering Gerry.
For sure. I mean, that's the consequence of Gerry being on 4 cards and missing with the Coursers so far. That said, with Gerry's graveyard empty, there's a really big incentive on Sean's side to just kill that morph while Gerry doesn't have a graveyard if you're working under the assumption that it is a Den Protector. If that's the case, Stratus Dancer might be really powerful.
I do like what Sean's doing, though. This is taking advantage of Gerry's mulligan. He's going to play Soren and just start upticking it, threatening it toward the ultimate. It's very possible that Gerry won't be able to stop the ultimate. Do you see a land from Gerry? He does get a free land off Courser. Now Ojutai will be his next draw. But yeah, he's going to have to get this Soren down before it -6s, and that's a tall order.
The hope on Gerry's side of the table is that Sean just casts some sort of spell here, which allows Gerry to unmorph the Stratus Dancer. Then you have a 3-power flyer, and that can start threatening Soren.
Yeah, I mean, even in the situation where that doesn't happen, I was going to say he may just have to do it anyway. The issue is if he cracks the fetch land, he's shuffling away Ojutai.
I don't think Gerry minds.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Right. If he's able to actually counter a spell here, it's just so powerful.
Here's Siege Rhino, and has he completed the bait and switch? What is it, Stratus Dancer or Den Protector? Believe it is Stratus Dancer.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Maybe not. See how I think Gerry adjusted life totals. Oh. So because it was a creature, Stratus Dancer, yeah, Stratus Dancer counters instants and sorceries. If Sean had gone for something of that sort.
That's really the trap that Gerry's trying to set.
Yeah, and I mean, he's 1 turn behind on the Soren. If he had an extra turn, he could play Ojutai and use Stratus Dancer to protect Ojutai. As it is, he's going to get to protect Ojutai with Stratus Dancer and maybe even rebuy it with Den Protector, but he's going to have to do all of this through a Soren emblem. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But not impossible, actually. It's just hard.
Yeah, I mean, Gerry's going to, in an ideal world, he's drawing 2 cards a turn. He's getting a lot of selection, and hopefully he can find enough kind of doofuses, especially with Death Mist Raptor. Keep that in mind. If Gerry's able to find some morphs, then he has a great ability to sacrifice that over and over again.
Yeah,
rebuy it and power through the emblem.
Well, he can play Ojutai. Next one, he can sacrifice Death Mist Raptor, and then he swings. You assume Sean will hold up a kill spell, and then you can Stratus Dance, counter the kill spell, bring back Death Mist Raptor. Okay, we're not down yet. Valorous Stance is on top of his deck. That's another way to protect Ojutai. This is not unreasonable.
And I like this attack a lot from Gerry because this either gets some counters off of Soren, which is very good news, or trades with the creature.
Yeah. And trades with Fleece main line, that's great. Monstrosity Fleece main lines actually can be difficult for the Ojutai Bant deck to deal with.
But I think that Gerry has set the trap to the best of his ability. It's going to be hard for him to power through the Soren emblem, but he's making it very attractive for Sean to pass through this turn and try to use a removal spell on a Dragon Lord Ojutai. And if that happens, suddenly things start looking not good for Gerry, but at least they're starting to get turned around a little bit.
All right, Soren makes an emblem, and that was the threat. Sean correctly identified that Gerry's on the back foot. That's why he played Soren before even something like Siege Rhino. And so now the emblem is in play. Gerry will be sacrificing 1 creature per turn.
Now, what's bad news here for Gerry is that the top card of his deck is Valorous Stance. And now Sean, you know, it appeared as though there would be an incentive for Sean to try to use Murderous Cut, which would play right into the Stratus Dancer. But now with Valorous Stance on the top of the deck, Sean just has to main phase these Edicts, and that's a lot worse for the Stratus Dancer plan.
So Sean's going to go ahead and this is a great play from here. He's going to use 2 kill spells, and he gets the Stratus Dancer with Murderous Cut. Gerry upkeep is going to have to sacrifice Courser.
Yeah, Sean is not messing around with that Valorous Stance on the top of the deck.
And then Gerry will have to use Ojutai to find another creature. If he has to sacrifice the Ojutai, the jig feels up.
Right.
Well-timed kill spells on Sean's side.
Gerry needs to find morphs he can unmorph, and that allows him some cushion with Death Mist Raptor, and then maybe he can power through. It's going to be hard.
Yeah. I mean, 1 Den Protector is great,
Yeah.
which he has in hand, so he can play it. If Ojutai finds a land here, an untapped land, he can just play Den Protector and have the Den Protector flip going on. You see, he finds, looks like land, Dromoka's Command, Elvish Mystic. The land does come into play tapped.
Well, he can still kind of run the same play here, which is he can take the Elvish Mystic, cast the Morph and the Elvish Mystic, hope that Sean doesn't have any more kill spells, and then you can sacrifice the Elvish Mystic, or upkeep unmorph the Den Protector, whichever you feel is best.
Yeah, now how can Gerry afford to hold up Valorous Stance? Probably not.
No, he has to just play these 2 creatures. That's his only route here.
And if Sean has another kill spell for Ojutai, then we're done.
Right.
Fair enough. Shanto's turn. It does not look like he does. He's got a Hornet Queen to build his way toward, but he doesn't have all the lands. He has Satyr Wayfinder. Sean is at 5 lands. On the counter end of things, Sean has a 6th land on top of his deck, a Satyr Wayfinder in hand. If Sean gets to Hornet Queen, which it's looking like he's going to, I'm not sure where Gerry's line is then.
Yeah, I mean, Gerry's on a 4-card hand facing down a Soren emblem. There's going to be some difficulty here regardless.
Right.
But
he's making a go of it.
Gerry has sculpted the game plan. He knows what he has to do. I think if you ask Gerry right now what is his odds of winning the game, he'd say extremely low. But he knows what his only route is, and he's trying to execute that right now.
Here's a swing for 6. Gerry goes down to 9. Sean's going to play Fleece Mane. And does he want to draw Soren, or does he want to go for that land? You think if he hits the land, he'd be able, yeah, he's going to actually just go ahead and keep Soren and maybe just race Gerry. Play Soren plus it.
Yep.
Ignore this Hornet Queen. Upkeep, Gerry's going to Valorous Stance away the Rhino, then sacrifice Elvish Mystic, draws for turn. It's a fetch land. What is his line? He gets to flip up Den Protector, bring back Death Mist. He can get another card as well. So crack a fetch line, go to 8.
I think what Gerry's plan here is to unmorph the Den Protector, get back Valorous Stance, get rid of the Courser Crewfix, and then he knows that Sean cannot play Hornet Queen the next turn.
The question is how he wants to time this with his Ojutai Anticipate. Does he want to make this play before or after? He's going to go ahead and swing both, offering a trade of Den Protector for Fleece Mane Lion.
And I love this attack from Gerry. He's got to also manage the board a little bit here. He can get rid of the Fleece Mane Lion before things go monstrous. If Sean offers the trade, he can Valorous Stance, get back his Death Mist Raptor, take care of the Courser, and then Sean's hand really isn't that powerful.
Den Protector flips up, brings back Death Mist Raptor. It's going to trade a Fleece Mane Lion. What is he getting back off Den Protector?
I feel like it's got to be Valorous Stance. He's got to shut off the possibility of Sean getting land number 7.
There is no answer to Hornet Queen in his deck.
No,
and there you go. Now he won't have the land. They trade. He gets back Valorous Stance. Now Ojutai hits. Gerry can decide what he looks at. Den Protector, 2 other cards. Couldn't make the decision quicker. Den Protector in his hand.
I mean, this is a 4-card hand against a Soren emblem.
He's going to wait until the draw step. Is the land on top? It is, but it's tapped.
And he's not even going to let it happen.
Nope.
So that's now a 2-turn delay on this Hornet Queen, potentially.
So we flip it back over. Sends up Citadel, not on this turn.
Gerry, man, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
It's good to have you back in these tournaments.
Satyr Wayfinder is going to go ahead and find it. So that puts another 1 turn off the clock. And do you feel like, so last turn, Sean could have made this Wayfinder. It would have sacrificed the Soren. If he gets the land off it, he'd have Hornet Queen this turn.
Yeah, the problem is that so many of Sean's lands come into play tapped that it's...
Well, last turn, he just didn't cast Wayfinder because he wanted to draw Soren.
Right.
Now he'll play Soren, make a blocker, play land 7. Gerry looking strong here, but there's still Hornet Queen going on.
This might be too much for Gerry to overcome now because he can pump out a chump blocker this turn for Dragon Lord Ojutai, prevent that trigger, get to Hornet Queen, and that might be too much to overcome. But Gerry on a 4-card hand facing down a Soren emblem.
Yeah, he's making a game of it. If only he had a way to get through this vampire, then he'd have more of a shot. You see he does have an untapped land here. He can start looping Den Protectors, I believe. So he can just continue to tread water off the Soren emblem.
The problem now is the Hornet Queen. And
Yep.
Gerry's at 8, he doesn't have a lot of time, and Hornet Queen completely shuts down the possibility of Dragon Lord Ojutai mattering in this game.
So here's Den Protector face down for Gerry. Get some more. He can just use, I think he's just going to loop Den Protectors to buy himself some time.
Yeah, he can spin his tires for a while here. But at 8 life, Hornet Queen's going to be a little much. I think Sean just wants to double check and make sure there's no weird counter spell, something to muck up this Hornet Queen in the graveyard right now.
Draw for Sean was Hero's Downfall. And looking at Gerry's deck, ways that he can get through Hornet Queen don't exist. He just has to really grind through it. Now, one thing, actually, if he flips up Den Protector as a 3/2 can attack past everything on Sean's board.
Still gets to attack, but Gerry's at 8 right now. Soren is potentially going up. And I think that the damage race just might not be negotiable now.
We'll see. I'm inclined to agree, though.
Listen, and again, Gerry's likely to lose this game, but this is quite the effort here.
Den Protector going to go ahead and unmorph. It'll get back Deathmist Raptor into play, and the trigger will get back the other Den Protectors. He's going to start looping those.
And if you've ever read Gerry's articles, if you ever talked to him, you know that he doesn't care necessarily about who wins or who loses the game. He focuses on trying to play the best of his abilities, and, that's all you can do. That's the only you can control in the game. It would have been really easy for Gerry to just resign himself to his fate here. I'm mulligan to 4. I had the Soren I can't touch, and he's just doing what he can.
Sacrifices Deathmist Raptor to the Soren emblem. His Den Protector, I think, has to take down the Soren. If it doesn't, he's going to die in the air. He'll probably die in the air anyway, but at least this way, there's some negotiating.
Yeah.
Den Protector swings at, I assume, Soren.
Because on the crackback here, Sean gets to plus the Soren and gain a huge sum of life.
Life. Yeah. He'd gain a lot. Enough to... I mean, it'd also just be lethal in the air.
Yeah.
Gerry couldn't block enough of it.
And yeah, you see Sean with a quick block there with the Hornet Queen.
Yeah, remember, it was a 3/2 because of the Soren plus. So actually, we did have enough power to block the Den Protector. Gerry will scry with the Temple and play another morph. Both players know what the morph is. And Gerry's going to have to block a Hornet with Ojutai. This attack is lethal. If Sean pluses, yeah, he'll plus. Everybody's a 2/1 lifelinker.
And get them all in here. Gerry just has to block with Dragon Lord Ojutai.
Yep. He doesn't want to swing the Satyr. It would just run into the Deathmist Raptor that's hiding in Gerry's yard. So it looks like it'll just be the Flyers, perhaps. Here they come. They're all 2/1s. Gerry will block one of them. He'll go to 2. Sean will gain 8, go up to 23. He's not dead yet. He's real close. Can he life gain out of this? I don't see how he gets through this. Hornet Queen is a really powerful card in the matchup.
Yeah, we mentioned it before we even got to the match that if it shows up at least game 1 and Sean's got any sort of other action going on, it's probably going to be too much for Gerry to overcome. A Soren emblem, a Hero's Downfall, these definitely qualify as other things that are going on.
Here comes Den Protector, gets the Deathmist Raptor out of the yard for starters. What will it get back? I mean, The issue is it has to just keep being another Den Protector. Otherwise, the Soren emblem is going to grind him out of the game, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets choices here.
At this point, he might have to pivot in another direction because he's facing lethal in the air. But yeah, I agree with you. It just kind of has to be Den Protectors because this emblem is impossible to overcome otherwise.
Jermoka's command the draw. So game 1 will go over to Sean. But what a fight from Gerry Thompson. 4 cards on the play makes a game of it.
Often you learn a lot more about players in the games that they lose than the games that they win. And it would have been so easy for Gerry to sort of pack up shop when he mulliganed to 4 and Sean produced the Soren emblem very early on in the game. And he battled through. Gerry ultimately lost that game, but he made that more of a fight than it had any right to be. That game was surprisingly close given the circumstances.
Players getting ready here for game 2. All right, so looking at Gerry's sideboard, he's not as cold to Hornet Queen after the sideboard.
3 copies of Elspeth, Sun Champion, 3 copies of Russian Cleric, 2 copies of Glare of Heresy, 2 copies of Plummet, 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke, a Stratus Dancer, and Jermoka's Command. The 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke are so important here, and I think they really flipped the matchup around more in Gerry's direction. They're good on their own, and they are so potent alongside Den Protectors that to me is going to be the key of the matchup. I think the Elspeths are going to come in as well.
Yeah, so when you have something like, 3 Disdainful Stroke, 3 Elspeth Sun's Champion coming in, what are the kind of things that we start talking about not using? Jermoka's Command is probably still good. He doesn't know that Sean has whips. He probably suspects it based off Seder Wayfinder. But what are the cards he doesn't want here? I guess Fleece Mane Lion did not seem very impressive.
I think Fleece Mane Lion is still pretty potent, and it's so nice in conjunction with Jermoka's Command that I feel like they're sort of connected. I think some of the mana creatures can afford to leave the deck. Some mixture of Corsair, Krufix, Sylvan Carryat, and Elvish Mystic. The game's going to go on for a very long time. Gerry wants to leave his deck as dense with high-impact cards as possible, and in that sort of game, there's just less pressure to have mana acceleration.
So you may board out some number of Corsair in the matchup.
I think that's possible. Yes.
Okay.
The second copy is pretty bad.
That's true.
And later on in the game, Corsair is also not that potent of a threat. So I would not cut off 4, but if Gerry went down to, let's say, 2 copies, I could totally see it.
Not unreasonable.
Totally see it.
All right, on Sean's side, I imagine both players here want to try to go bigger and more control style.
Yeah, Sean has 2 copies of Jermoka's Command, a Hero's Downfall, a Drown in Sorrow, a Crux of Fate, another copy of Whip of Erebos, a Doomwake Giant, 3 copies of Foul Tongue Invocation, a Farika God of Affliction, a second Hornet Queen, and 3 copies of Duress. Love the additional copy of Hornet Queen. I think Farika God of Affliction is pretty well suited for this kind of matchup as well. I don't know if he's going to want to bring in more edict effects. They are not necessarily great against Gerry if he's got some sort of Den Protector, Deathness Raptor loop going on, or if he gets to Elspeth, so I would probably just leave those in the sideboard. But I could bring in the extra copy of Whip of Erebos, the extra copy of Hero's Downfall.
How do you feel about Crux of Fate here?
Good, solid card. Like it a lot. Could come in as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. So one thing, having played it sometimes from the Obzon side against this Ojutai Bant deck, it's actually Thoughtseize is a card that is sometimes not very good against them. Their hands are full of all of the same thing.
Exactly. It's a challenging card, certainly in the Obzon mirror match. I think it stays in because Elspeth is such a threat.
Right.
But you get these hands where it's just all kind of stuff.
You see 2 Den Protectors and a Death Mist Raptor, and you're like, I'm not doing anything with this Thoughtseize.
And in the mirror match, it's good in your opening hand for sure, but once you get to turn 7, turn 8, these players are often just playing off the top of their deck, and Thoughtseize is not a very good card to draw. I think it's a little bit different in this matchup because when your opponent has blue, they have access to Disdainful Strokes and Negates. Those are very juicy Thoughtseize targets even later on in the game. So I think Thoughtseize stays in here. I don't know if I would go so far as to bring in the Duresses. It's a little more justifiable in this matchup than against Obzon because, again, the counter spells are really what is going to trip up Sean, if anything. But it is possible for the discard spells to be bad.
Yeah. So as these players go, we are on our last round. This is round 9. It's the end of our day 1 coverage here of the Star City Games Standard Open. For those of you joining us on Twitch TV, we want to thank you once again covering this on Twitch TV. We have brought back this year Twitch TV chat. This is SCGLive. Join us in the feature match as you guys are. Thank you so much for watching during the tournament today. We have a Twitch subscription program as well. You see the subscribe button there. Everybody can participate in slow mode chat where you get 1 message every 2 minutes or so. But you can have more. You can get unlimited chat. You can chat during the subscriber only mode, custom emoticons, badges, and more. For only $4.99 a month, twitch.tv/SCGLive.
Yeah, on the next page here, we have a couple of these custom emoticons. We got our slow play turtle. our Flying Penguin BU, Cedric Phillips, battling right now for a Tay2 slot. We got more of these emoticons coming down the pipeline. You can hop in right now at twitch.tv/SCGLive.
I really like the little penguin because birds are supposed to have flying. So you have a bird token and you picked a penguin, and because penguins don't have flying, this penguin has a jetpack. And that makes complete sense. So when I think of a flying bird, that's what I think of, penguins with jetpacks.
It's trying to make up for the bad deed that Mother Nature did to it. Giving something wings and not the ability to fly, it's not a nice thing to do.
Yeah, that's why they invent rocket-fueled pack, jetpack.
The next step in evolution.
And goggles.
Necessary if you're going to be flying.
Yeah.
Debris hits you in the face, it's unpleasant.
Yeah. This is really an interesting matchup, and one of the things where you see these kind of grindy mid-range decks go at each other. A lot of dimensions to the play of the game, for sure.
Definitely. It's funny because of these different dimensions, certain things matter at some points and then become invalid later in the game. Early on, Thoughtseize can be really potent to give you an idea of what your opponent's most valuable cards are, to know what kind of cards they've sideboarded in, what potential problems they have. And later on in the game, it's one of the worst cards. Sometimes the Planeswalkers can be extremely potent, game-dominating cards. We saw Soren in Game 1 do that.
Made an emblem, yeah.
Sometimes they just eat a hero's downfall and life goes on. So the games have their own kind of personality and texture to them.
Well, this time Gerry Thompson's on the play as we start out. He starts out with a pair of basics and a Sylvan Caryatid. Going to get some mana advantage. On Sean's side, a tap land, but he does have a 2-drop of his own. It's going to be Satyr Wayfinder. And a card we didn't see last time, but is really great in this matchup, and in Sean's hand, is one of copy of Anafenza the Foremost. If you think about how Gerry played last game, Anafenza can be a real beating against him.
It's an interesting card to have in Sean's deck because for the most part, the one-ups that you see in these decks they're high-impact cards that are pretty sweet to get back with Whip of Erebos. So one Sidisi, Undead Vizier, one copy of Hornet Queen. That makes a lot of sense.
You see stuff like Soul of Innistrad, you see, right?
Yeah, but one copy of Anafenza, that's more of a fun of. It's not, you're not doing it to get back with Whip of Erebos. That doesn't make any sense. So there's one kind of her value here, and it could be very solid in this game depending on how much Gerry is leaning on Death Misraptor, Dent Protector, and other graveyard-oriented cards.
Well, interesting development. So Sean going to play his Anafenza. That's going to hate out the graveyard strategy. But Gerry, if you look at his turn 2 play, he's maybe going a different angle this game. You start out with turn 3 Mastery of the Unseen. That doesn't use the graveyard at all.
And Mastery is a really powerful way to take the wind out of the sails of Sean sideboarding into a lot of removal spells.
Update here, Cedric Phillips into day 2, 6-3.
Still got it. Still got it. Little creatures and pump spells. Pro Tour Kyoto, look it up. He's back. Competing in the second day. 2-1 in each of the 3 legs of the tournament. Got a last round settled, battled all the way back, just like my beloved Los Angeles Clippers.
For Gerry Thompson, the ramp is working here. It goes into a turn 4 Dragon Lord Ojutai. Can be very powerful here. Swing from Anafenza. Gerry's not going to want to make that trade. He'll take 4, go down to 15.
Yeah, Sean pointed at the Dragon Lord Ojutai saying, hey, just so you know, if you want to trade here, get my Anafenza off the table. But Gerry's not taking that trade.
And interesting, we'll see whether or not Gerry even wants to call this bluff. So if you look at Sean's lands, there's not double black there. Unless Gerry suspects something like Abzan Charm, he could just swing the Ojutai. He'll at least get cards before it dies.
And I think that I like Gerry making the attack here because Sean is showing a lot of graveyard stuff. One of the cards that often gets cut out of those decks is the Abzan Charm. It's not really powerful when you're trying to generate card advantage out of your graveyard. So at some point, Gerry's going to have to attack into a removal spell anyway. It's likely to be Hero's Downfall down the line that Gerry can't do anything about, so it's a good spot to risk it.
Yeah, and what I like about the Bant deck is that it's not really all in on the Ojutai either. You see Gerry goes ahead. He gets the cards off Dragon Lord Ojutai. It was 3 lands, so he picked up a land, but then glares away the Anafenza. This does mean that his Ojutai is susceptible to the Hero's Downfall in Sean's hand, but we go back to this and say, hey, okay, he gets rid of that, but, Mastery's online, Mastery's on the table. You got the Anafenza off the board. This Ojutai plan, Gerry was never that committed to it in the first place.
And from a tempo perspective, this is so good for Gerry as well, because if Sean wants to downfall, that's his whole turn, coming off a turn previous where he did basically nothing. If Sean wants to type out for Siege Rhino, which you see him do right now, that means Gerry gets to go ahead and attack with Dragon Lord Ojutai another time and keep generating that advantage. So from a tempo perspective here, this Dragon Lord Ojutai is doing a lot of work, to say nothing of the card advantage perspective, where it's just going to be burying Sean in the long term.
I mean, that's impressive. When you have a spot to try to hero down for Ojutai, that Sean is just accepting that Gerry gets to anticipate every turn and is going to play a racing game is pretty bold. You see here Gerry finding Disdainful Stroke off this Ojutai to Disdainful Stroke the next Rhino.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure if Sean wants to be on this damage race plan. You know, he has to keep up on the board as well, because, well, Gerry keeps on making 2-2s with Mastery of the Unseen. He gets to pull ahead that way. So Sean rather, is behind on the damage race. He's behind in card advantage. Gerry has more potent late game right now because of Mastery of the Unseen. He's really coming at Sean from a variety of angles right now.
Yeah, he's got the late game covered, he's got the card advantage covered, he's got the damage race covered right now. Sean not winning in any of the aspects. And that Disdainful Stroke that he got to find off Ojutai, that was the free card that it cost Sean to not kill Ojutai. And it matters here.
I mean, if Sean casts a downfall here, Sean's still in danger from just the whole card advantage battle.
It's fine. Even if Gerry has the Valorous stance, I mean, he may just manifest. He has another Ojutai in his hand. And he'll manifest.
I mean, Gerry's in a position where you may see him attack with Death Miss Raptor next turn.
Sure.
He's got enough of an advantage right now.
Yeah. Maybe one of these manifests as a creature even.
Yeah. He has the ability to cast Dragon Lord Ojutai and hold up Disdainful Stroke. That's a really great place to be in.
Evolving Wilds, the land for Gerry. Yeah, another Ojutai. So while he could attack with Death Miss Raptor, I think Gerry's just sensing his late game is so much more powerful that he just doesn't need to.
Yeah. I just kind of like to beat down. You know?
You're ahead. Let's end this. That's what we're supposed to do.
It looks like it's probably 45%, 55% on the side of not attacking, so that's good enough for me to attack.
It needs to be way worse than 45%.
Yeah. Right, exactly. It's within my margin of error to send an attack, but I can also appreciate Gerry feeling like he's got the late game covered, especially with Disdainful Stroke in hand. It's likely to eat up Sean's turn if he tries to do something powerful, and he can win kind of at his own leisure. No reason to get risky.
See, I'm coming from the opposite point. I'd say I'd be like, I'm winning. That means this game's fun. I don't really want it to end. And then I would stop and say, and why do I have all these creatures in play?
Different strokes for different folks. That's why Magic's so great.
Siege Rhino comes down. Will Gerry even Disdainful Stroke it? At this point, yeah, Gerry has Disdainful Stroke in hand and is letting Siege Rhinos resolve, which, for the record, is correct. But it's such a show of strength.
Yeah. I mean, Gerry might be saying something like he needs to have something like End Hostilities or Crux of Fate or Bust. So I don't have to care about Siege Rhino very much.
I don't have to do anything. I just have to make little shapeless 2/2s. Gerry flipping up Elvish Mystic, gaining 5 life. Yeah, fine. Siege Rhino wants to 3 you, gain 5.
Another reason for Gerry to not really care. Siege Rhino at the end of the day is just kind of a random ground pounder here, and Gerry with Mastery of the Unseen has a steady stream of blockers, and he can gain a lot of life along the way.
Gerry's draw for turn, Courser of Crufix. He'll swing with Dragon Lord Ojutai. And that to me shows that he's not going to want to play Courser. If he was going to play Courser, he'd do it before attacking with Ojutai.
And now a Den Protector to pair with the Disdainful Stroke in hand, and that's going to be a lot. That is going to be a lot to overcome.
He's got counter spells for days on the cards that matter, which there aren't very many of. And then you can just make a bunch of little shapeless 2/2s and hit him with the dragon. The Bant mid-range deck does a great job of having lots of really resilient game plans that attack from different directions. It's very hard, even from a control standpoint, you have to answer them on so many different levels.
Right, and the deck is also very good at flipping from controlling the game to attacking as well. And you're seeing Gerry here, he's kind of doing both things. He's blocking better than Sean can attack, and he's attacking better than Sean can block.
Sean down to 10 off the Ojutai hit. He'll Thoughtseize. Yeah, Thoughtseize pretty good here. Yeah, that'll take care of, you see, another Ojutai, a Disdainful Stroke, and a Courser. That is Ojutai number 3. It's the number there in Gerry's list. He'll take Disdainful Stroke, but as we know, the morph there is Den Protector, so nothing's really staying in the graveyard.
Yeah, these counter spells plus Den Protector post board is just really, really, really tough on a deck like Abzan.
Sean will go for Soren. We'll see whether Gerry deems Soren worthy of a counter spell. It looks like he does. Den Protector gets back Disdainful Stroke, Stroke on Soren.
I think Gerry's perspective is anything that is worth an attack from Ojutai is good enough to counter here because Ojutai is so powerful when it's connecting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Yeah, that sounds about right.
You doing a quick check here to see
if Jerry's got him dead. Yeah, he doesn't. It's real close, though. With one more creature in play, Gerry would just turn all the cards sideways. Draws Fleece main line. Sure.
Another solid blocker.
Yeah, great card.
I mean, it also cuts off Sean from being able to get to a sweeper. A sweeper is probably no good in any case because of Master of the Unseen, but it's just another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you outs. You could play the Fleece main line with 5 more ups. You could Monstrosity in case Sean has a sweeper. He's just going to play Courser, flips the top card, and this is the advantage here. So Gerry gets to swing with both his creatures, and we know, because he has 5 mana in play and the Mystic and Caryatid, that if Gerry needs to, he can manifest this Caryatid. He could manifest the Caryatid and flipped it.
Yeah.
Instead, he's going to go ahead and anticipate, finds another Disdainful Stroke. Great, lovely.
Even better.
Yep. He's at 20, not really worried about these Siege Rhinos. We're going to be heading to a 3rd game.
Yep. And you're seeing just a really diverse portfolio of angles of attack here from Gerry. It feels like Sean's losing every single way that you can describe who's winning and who's losing a game. Sean is behind on all of them right now.
Well, Gerry just did a great job with that. The game, what I liked about it is that you always felt like the game was about something different at every point. You know, at first he played Mastery of the Unseen. Go, okay, well, that's good. Then he ramped into an Ojutai and said, okay, the game's about Ojutai. Can Sean answer it? And then he killed the Ojutai, but that was fine because Gerry got to kill a Anafenza. And then suddenly the game was about Masteries. So then Sean starts applying pressure to pressure Mastery. And then suddenly the game's about Death Mist Raptors. Yep. And, you know, there's just, every time he attacked Gerry on a game plan, rather than having to play defense, Gerry just let Sean attack that part of the deck and started doing something different.
Yeah. So you have cards like Siege Rhino, for example. They're extremely powerful, variety of matchups.
They attack everything.
You're not sideboarding them out. But Siege Rhino is really only powerful in games that are ultimately about attacking and blocking and where's the life total at. If Gerry is able to make the game about things like Mastery Unseen or Den Protector or his Planeswalkers or what have you, Siege Rhino really doesn't have a place in those sort of games. I'm not saying that Sean should cut his Siege Rhinos because they're still potent in the games that he's going to be winning. But Gerry has a lot of ways to make the game about something else, and then all of Sean's kind of random attackers and blockers don't really participate in the game that's happening.
Yeah, well, you look at Gerry's cards; they scale very well with each other. You know, they synergize. They you know, the counterspells get better with Ojutai, the Den Protectors get better with Death Mist Raptors, the Masteries gets better with Mana Creatures. There's a lot of cards that really improve. Siege Rhino, well, arguably the most powerful card in Standard. The one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't really synergize with anything. Siege Rhino has a very high power level, but its maximum and minimum of how good it is on a board state are very close to each other. It's, you know, a Siege Rhino is always just about as good as a Siege Rhino.
So the other side of this is if Sean's able to make the game about just attacking and blocking and being efficient with removal spells, he's got an edge. He's got a big edge in that kind of game. Gerry's advantage comes from once his pieces start interlocking, Sean doesn't have any sort of analog. It's basically at that point with a Barabos or Hornet Queen or bust. He has no way to fight Gerry when Gerry makes the game about something else. But if Sean can keep it about getting early pressure, about removing some early important creatures from Gerry, like mana creatures or Course for Krufix and so forth, encouraging the Siege Rhino, then Siege Rhino has the opportunity to be a dominating card.
Yeah, I mean, pound for pound, Siege Rhino is, he's the champion. I mean, you know, if you want to just have, let's bash our 4-drops into each other and see which ones are better, I mean, you can't really do better than that guy.
Exactly. If the game is just about life totals, Siege Rhino is quite a bit better than Dragon Lord Ojutai.
Yeah.
So Sean has to make the game about life totals.
Sure. Players going to game 3, both at 6-2, hoping to get that 7-2, and Staten both will make day 2, but you really would like to enter day 2 with a record of 7-2. At 6-3, you have to win out to be able to have a shot at top 8.
Yeah, you'll have poor tiebreakers. You'll be X-3. You have to have a perfect day to make day number 2. you get a little more wiggle room at 7 and 2. Better tiebreakers. You can definitely afford one loss.
Always nice to see Gerry Thompson playing back on the Open Series, kind of that old guard of Magic. Other players in that, you see a lot of times writing on Star City games. Patrick Chapin, we'll take a second to talk about the Next Level library. You've seen a lot of the things that he's done, whether this has been Next Level deck building, Next Level Magic as the ebooks or in paperback. We now have the entire library. This is for all skill levels, available now in both paperback and ebook, written by Patrick Chapin, the innovator, currently runner-up at the World Championships last year, Pro Tour champion, been one of the most influential Magic theorists and players over the last, 20 years.
Good books for players of all ability levels. You're trying to get a better theoretical understanding of the game. You've just started. These books are great. If you're a PTQ grinder, someone participating in Grand Prix on the Open circuit, try and get your game to the next level Magic to improve as a player, next level deck building to help your deck building skills.
Yeah, first time we now have these in full color paperback printings of each book, as well as the ebooks. Find out more, starcitygames.com/nextlevel. We're on for game 3. Gerry Thompson put on quite a show here, showing the different aspects of Bant midrange. Game 1 on a mull to 4 on the play, put up quite the fight. And game 2, he just bobbed and weaved his way past all of Sean's answers.
4-card hand where Sean got to a fast Soren emblem and got one of his big trumps in the matchup in Hornet Queen.
And he needed all of it.
He needed every piece of the puzzle. Appears as though both players here have mulligan to 6. And they both appear to be good to go.
All right. And to be fair, if you're on mulligans to 6, that does favor the guy who wants to mash Siege Rhinos. That's a spot where he wants to be.
Definitely. The player with Thoughtseize in his deck with no real moving parts. I mean, there is some graveyard synergy, but he's much lighter on than Gerry. The further and further these players go down in terms of cards, the more and more the game is about things like Siege Rhino.
I mean, you look at Sean's hand. Okay, the curve's bad. It is after his first draw, he had 4 lands, Soren, Rhino. But that hand, perfectly acceptable in this kind of matchup.
Yeah. Though, Gerry here with a pretty nice opening here, some mana acceleration as well, and if Sean has no removal, no disruption, he's really at the mercy of Gerry finding his synergies.
Elvish Mystic for Gerry. He's going to play Courser and get the free land with Temple. Shows a island on top. He may have to keep that one. He doesn't have blue mana yet.
Yeah, that's a nice set of hits there for Gerry. Guarantee a blue mana next turn. A land off his Courser.
Den Protector is the face down more for Sean, but that's not going to be able to swing in. And, this is what his deck does the best. Here comes a
thud.
A crash of Rhinos is about to ensue. Here's the first one.
And this is going to punish. If Gerry's draw is really fidgety here, and he needs some time to get set up, that's going to be to Sean's advantage. If Gerry can respond with some of his removal spells, Valorous Stance and Glare and so forth, Gerry's got the advantage right now with Courser Crewfix.
Gerry's doing a great job of making the game about card advantage right now. His Courser is now 2 for 2 on hitting lands for him. And I think he's going to try to life gain through the Siege Rhinos because he's up cards. You see him go for second Courser, plays a fetch land off the top. It shows Glare of Heresy on top of the deck. If he's gaining 2 life at a time, maybe he can just let each of these Rhinos hit him for 3, eventually trade with them and pull through.
I mean, if Gerry is passing through a Glare of Heresy in that spot to get a land to cast something this turn, that's a big show of strength because you would imagine your opponent's just played a Siege Rhino, you would really want Glare of Heresy. And Gerry's saying, no, that's fine, I'll take a random draw.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of great things going on. He's going to go ahead and Valor Stance away the Rhino. He has Disdainful Stroke in hand as well, along with the Island. So the cards that beat him in previous games, things like Hornet Queen, he has that covered, actually.
Yeah.
From Sean, it's just more Rhinos.
And he's got a cushion to play with here in terms of life total, so he doesn't have to do anything about these Siege Rhinos. If he kills them, I'm sure he'll take his opportunities to do so, but there's no rush to do so.
And hitting 3 for 3 on lands off Coursers. And when they're double Coursers, this really blunts the impact of the Siege Rhino.
Yeah. And you see Gerry also with Den Protector in his hand. Now, Sean has one face down as well, but Gerry's Den Protectors are so much more potent than Sean's because of cards like Valorous Stance, because of cards like Disdainful Stroke. Just cheaper, more flexible, and more powerful as the game drags out.
Interesting choice here for Gerry. He can score that free forest off the top of the deck, get a 3rd free land, but at some point he wants to leave up Disdainful Stroke that's in his hand, so he plays Island out of his hand, and that's actually a pretty big tell, I think, that he has a counterspell.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm Sean right now, I would bet everything that Disdainful Stroke or Negate or some other blue cards in Gerry's hand. There's just no other way he makes that play.
He didn't play the forest.
He could have gotten a free card.
Made Death Mist Raptor instead. leaving up Disdainful Stroke.
Which means if I'm Sean, I am loath to run a 4-mana spell out there. He's got Courser Crewfix in hand.
Yeah, I might just play Courser. So, but he's going to go for another one. He's going to go for Soren. And yeah, Disdainful Stroke will take care of it.
And now he's back in the same bind where Gerry has access to 7 mana in play, and that's enough for Den Protector, Unmorphing, and casting Disdainful Stroke or Valorous Stance.
Yeah, I think in Sean's spot there, because it was that blue mana, I think I would have wanted to have seen Gerry go for or Sean go for Courser and just try to play the card advantage game a little bit. Because this sequence is really playing into Gerry's game plan. Yeah. Now he plays the Force out of his hand. He had to draw it, so that's not a free card. But Valor Stance is on top of the deck.
I mean, Sean's logic that last turn may have been, I've got Den Protector down. It's kind of a freebie for me to have a valuable card get hit. But because Gerry has his own Den Protector, it's a bit disastrous.
Yeah. Well, it's okay for his own valuable card to get hit if he didn't already have a great target in the graveyard. But I feel like he did. He already had a Siege Rhino to get back. Soren's not appreciably better.
Yeah.
And you see Gerry transitioning. Now he's going aggressive. He played Den Protector, got back Valorous Stance, stands to the Rhino, and now is swinging in with his creatures. It's 7 damage.
With Valorous Stance on top means that Sean's Courser Crewfix in hand is no good. The Siege Rhinos are not a great response. And the cards in Sean's graveyard are a little on the chunky side right now. It's his whole turn to get something back and redeploy it, even if he draws a land that comes into play untapped.
Yeah, now the saving grace for Sean is that if he can survive up to Hornet Queen and draw one and play it, Gerry has gotten rid of all his Disdainful Strokes and cards that can answer Hornet Queen, but Sean's taking a lot of damage.
But he's also got to find an answer to the Den Protector itself, because Hornet Queen is not an answer to that card.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
So it's another piece of the puzzle. Sean needs to find a removal spell for it as well.
Plays Courser, gets the land off the top of his deck, sees another land on top, but it's a temple, so he's going to go ahead and crack the fetch land. That one will be life neutral, thanks to the Courser. Takes 1, gains 1. See what the next card is. Thoughtseize. That one is, this is kind of when you mentioned this matchup, but there are bad times for Thoughtseize.
Yeah, and it's not a guarantee to be powerful at all times. At this point, Gerry's living off the top of his deck.
Great Jamoka's command from Sean. Courser fights Den Protector and makes Gerry sacrifice a Courser. Now Gerry has another Courser, so not that much. Gonna draw Valor Stance. Gets another free land. It's Yavimaya Coast. And here is the engine. It's another Den Protector on top. He's going to start the whole parade all over.
Very nice here for Gerry to find that Den Protector on top, because he was starting to run light on resources here. I mean, he does have a Valorous Stance to get that Courser off the table, but Sean's kind of winning the card advantage battle at that point, and Sean's at 15, so he's got some light to play with. Gerry really needed a big draw there, and Den Protector certainly qualifies.
Stances away Sean's Courser. Sean's going to draw Thoughtseize. Yeah, it comes hidden, but they both know he'll draw it. I mean, the unsung hero of the game for Gerry here has really just been Courser of Crewfix.
Yes. He's had it. It's been unchecked. And if you just look at the cards each player has seen, Gerry's ahead right now.
He's gotten a lot of free cards off it, a lot of life points. You know, he's winning this grinding race because of Courser. Den Protector gets back Siege Rhino. Sean, that's his plan. He'll make another Siege Rhino. But, I mean, he has to. But, I mean, that doesn't even stabilize on this board, because you're going to trade a creature with Death Myth Raptor against an opponent who has Den Protector in hand, Den Protector in graveyard. You're treading water, but where are you going?
Yeah, Gerry has the option of kind of slowing the game down a little bit, just attacking with Death Myth Raptor, and then using the Den Protector he just drew to get something back. So if Gerry wants to stop pushing, he does have the option of Den Protector back, Valor Stance, kill your Siege Rhino, and keep the pressure going. If Gerry doesn't think that game plan is sustainable anymore, he can just slow it down. And only attack with Den Protector and try to play the card advantage game once again.
So here's Raptor. Will it put John down to 9, or is he going to trade with it? Trading with it looks so bad here. He may have to do it, but...
And to the point about how fluid this Bant mid-range deck is, Gerry went from, I'm the aggressor, I'm the aggressor, I'm the aggressor, to, all right, we'll slow down here a little bit. I'll try to get some chip shots here and play a better Den Protector game than you can.
So there's Den Protector face down. The draw for Sean, this is a good one. It's going to be Crux of Fate.
Well, he can't just fire it off right now, because there's Den Protector plus Disdainful Stroke available on the other side of the table.
Okay, you're right. And that would force Gerry to use the Den Protector on something that isn't the other Den Protector, perhaps. I mean, the question is that's always going to be there, isn't it?
The other side is Gerry can go, okay, Den Protector back, my Den Protector, it resolves.
But
And
then
he
Sean
fired.
has Thoughtseize.
Sure, and then the Thoughtseize is back online, and there's a path there. That's very good.
So I think because of that, Gerry would disdainful stroke a Crux.
Right, because Gerry is aware of the Thoughtseize. He saw it earlier from a
Right.
Corsair reveal.
If there wasn't a disdainful stroke in the graveyard, Sean could do all of this and could reset the board. I mean, until Gerry draws another morph. So instead, Sean will just make his own morph. Den Protect. Remember, his only morphs are Den Protectors. Yep, Gerry's gonna start, the Den Protectors will start looping.
And with both of these players having Den Protectors, it's a little bit better for Gerry, even setting aside the respective power level of their cards, because Gerry has Death Misraptor. And so when each of them have it, Gerry just has this slight advantage. And you're seeing right now, it's kind of annoying for Sean to handle this. And Gerry just gets it back for free as he's going about doing other business.
I mean, look at this next angle of attack. Just when you're thinking maybe Sean has some lines where he can get through this, you know, if he Cruxes and Thoughtseizes, and then, oh, by the way, on top of Gerry's deck is Mastery of the Unseen. And so maybe Sean threads the needle and resolves a Crux and gets all this to work, and then Gerry just starts pumping out 2/2s.
Yeah.
And then he flips one up, and then everybody comes back.
It's a very tough fight for Sean to fight. And Mastery of the Unseen on top of the deck here. Now, Sean did get back that Dromoka's command, but that Dromoka's command might get forced to be used just to fight something. Gerry's not going to run that Mastery of the Unseen just out there, unless he's willing to sacrifice the Corsair prefix.
Right. Sandstep Citadel, Dromoka's Command, Crux of Fate, and Thoughtseize. Those are Sean's cards. His deck playing quite fair here. Now, I do know when a player's playing a deck like Obs on midrange as opposed to Reanimator, what do they try to do in this matchup? Because this could happen to them too. Is you eventually say enough of your shenanigans and you play an Elspeth. You have 3 or 4 of them. You say, okay, fine, I'm plussing Elspeth because Gerry's board, as great as it is here, actually is weak to Elspeth. But because Sean doesn't have, he has his card for that is Hornet Queen, but he doesn't have, he has 1. He has 2 after board. It's not the same as, a set of Elspeths. Or an Ugin or something like that.
And this Death Misraptor has also been really problematic for Sean.
Yeah.
He has no way to really lock it out of the game. He's trying to fight fair against it, overpower it with things like Whip of Erebos or Hornet Queen, but he has no way to efficiently take care of this card. He has nothing to exile it. He has no Elspeth to lock up the ground, so this has just been problematic.
So Sean is going to block, but before damage, he's going to cast Dromoka's Command. Looks like Den Protector is going to go ahead and fight something. I believe it's Gerry's Morph, which, as we know, is Den Protector. Just going to fight Den Protector. And I believe make Gerry sacrifice an enchantment. So in response, Gerry will flip the Den Protector up. Get back Valorous Stance. And yeah, he'll let the 2-for-1 happen.
Yep.
Or the 2-for-2.
But at this point, card advantage is sort of a fuzzy concept.
Well, yeah, Gerry's got Mastery of the Unseen on top, or in hand now. If you want to talk about card advantage, that's a lot of it. And there it is.
And Death Misraptor on top of the deck also, which is a really nice one to be able to get for free and then unmegamorph.
All right, well, here's the card that Sean will be looking for on his side. It's his unfair card. It's Whip of Erebos. It doesn't fight that well against Mastery, but it's his game-breaking card.
It is, and the game has gone on for a long time, and it will be reasonably powerful here. But the problem is you look at the life totals here, and this is a pretty big investment in terms of resources and forces Sean to take a full turn off and then just kind of go on the offensive. It's not clear if that's a sustainable game plan.
Yeah,
it's still the best thing that he's got going besides Hornet Queen, so you got to cast it.
Yeah, it's a great draw. Things are just eventually at the point where nothing's good. So Whip is the play. Will he swing Rhino? Definitely wants the life points. I think he gains more life just by swinging Rhino. He's gonna swing Rhino and Den Protector. Gerry had gotten back Valor Stance, can stance away the Rhino. That's what he'll do. Rhino's down. We know the last card in Sean's hand. He has Crux and Thoughtseize in hand. Den Protector, though, will connect for 3. Gerry to 14, Sean to 9. Gerry has 8 power in play. 8's not 9, so it's not lethal right now.
But this whip next turn is a pretty big investment just to get back the Siege Rhino, which is nice, but that's just a swing of life, and Gerry's got a pretty big edge there.
Interesting. What Gerry can do here is upkeep manifest the Deathmist Raptor he knows about.
Yeah.
And because it's manifested, he can flip it up for 3, which he's going to do. Heads up play there, which that's 5 life on the table for him. So if Sean's going to try to aggro him out with whip, that just became a lot harder.
Also, all the whip right now represents is the ability to gain life. It's not impacting the board, really. And Gerry's got these other angles of attack shorn up right now.
Yeah, Sean doesn't have any cards in hand that really... He doesn't have any cards in his graveyard that are really great to whip back. Yeah. You know, there's nothing like Hornet Queen or something that leaves token, or Sidisi under either Sidisi, really.
Yep. And it's likely going to be Sean's entire turn just to get back a Siege Rhino, and I don't know if in the long term that amounts to very much. Now, Farika is another powerful card in the abstract here, but I just don't know if he can stop the tide of everything that's coming out here. And it is not a solution to Den Protector.
And Gerry just has so many things in play. You see, once again, there's a Courser back. Ojutai is on top of the deck. And yeah, Farika's a good draw. I like that he can cast it and use whip. I mean,
it's fine. It's something to do with the 3 mana left over. But again, Sean can only impact the board so much this turn.
He's at 3. Den Protector's gonna have to swing in. Some life will have to be gained.
If Sean's doing this, I think he may be pulling the trigger on Crux of Fate.
And he may just be forced to pull the trigger on Crux of Fate here.
He may. This might be just too much of an advantage on the way back.
Swings, gets the 3 life, he'll Crux. All right. So that will clean up the board. There are no dragons in play. Everything is gone. Gerry cannot manifest in response. So that'll just get everything. We'll see what the face down card was.
Is that Raptor?
Yeah, it's another Raptor. So he has 2 Death Mists in the graveyard. And now I go back over to Gerry's turn. We know the top card's Ojutai, but he only has 8 mana in play, so he doesn't necessarily want to manifest it. Let me just draw. Players did just hit time in the round as well. So this is touchier. This is turn 1. He's going to manifest the Ojutai.
So what this...
Huge draw.
That's a real big one, too, because not only is this an unmorphing here, but this is a couple Raptors on the way back as well. And what I like about this sequence is even if Gerry missed the untapped land this turn, now it's great for him that he did draw, but he still is setting up the game where turn 3 he unmorphs Dragon Lord Ojutai, and then the Raptors are eligible to attack on the 5th turn. So regardless, he at least gets 1 attack in with the Raptors. It's much better for him to be able to do it this way. Now there's 2 attacks coming, but this is 11 points of damage, and all Sean can really do here is whip back a Siege Rhino. That's a 7-point life swing.
Well, if Sean had a kill spell for the face down Ojutai and Gerry couldn't flip it, that would have been pretty significant.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, you know, Gerry knows that Sean's drawn a Thoughtseize. It's one of the 2 cards in his hand. He has a Ram draw step here. There's no guarantee he can kill the Dragon Lord Ojutai. And playing Dragon Lord Ojutai face up that turn basically precludes Gerry from being able to get back the Deathmist Raptors in an attacking position before the 5 turns have expired. So it does look like a risky play, but it's Gerry's best hope of being able to win the game inside of the untimed turns. Maybe he makes a different play if they still have a lot of time left on the clock. But because he has to win in 2 attacks, he needs to give himself the best opportunity to at least get 1 attack in with Deathmist Raptor. As it plays out, he's going to get 2, which is a huge swing.
Yeah, now Sean, if he's playing for the draw, he may go, he could go for a Farika right here. It would force Gerry to flip up the Ojutai immediately. Otherwise, Sean could eat the Death Mists out of the graveyard. It would give Gerry snakes, but that's not as much damage.
Well, if Sean goes for Farika, then all of a sudden unmorph Dragon Lord Ojutai and attack you with the tokens, plus the Dragon Lord Ojutai is lethal. So Sean can't go down that road just yet. I feel like he just has to get back a Siege Rhino. I don't think Farika really does anything in this spot.
If he gets back Siege Rhinos, maybe he can deal. That is 7 points, puts him to 13. Gerry's swing is only for 11 right now. Maybe he can cobble together a way to make this work. And that's what it's going to be. Here's Siege Rhino. Gerry's down to 10. Sean up to 9. It's turn 2. Swings with Siege Rhino. Does Gerry want to suck up some damage with Death Mist? I can't imagine he does. But the Jamoka's command in Sean's hand gives him some extra play.
He has to kind of use it on this turn, though.
I think so.
Because once he untaps, Sean doesn't have a creature anymore. So it's kind of now or never.
I mean, it's just 1/1 counter on Rhino plus sack of enchantment. Or maybe he makes them fight.
Well, if he's doing it right now, I suppose he could be trying to induce the unmorph. That seems ambitious. Because Gerry has such an obvious workaround here, so.
Jerry sacks the enchantment. I do think he was trying for the fight.
Yeah.
No, he went 1/1 counter and sacked
right,
enchantment.
There's nothing to be gained by fighting because Gerry has an onboard way to answer it. So this is the best that Sean can do with his resources.
The Rhino connects for 5. Gerry goes down to 8. So you can actually stack the Manifest and Death Mist Raptor triggers so that the Death Mist come into play before the Master of the Unseen counts his creatures, which is what he did. Gerry at 8. Sean up to 14, though. The next Rhino gains him 7. Gerry's swings are just for 11. That is enough because it's 11 a turn, so it's 22. Sean can only life game up to 21 as it stands.
And Fleece Main Line's a big draw here because Gerry, I mean, he's at 8. A Siege Rhino coming back and then triggering a Jamoka's command, another Siege Rhino, it's possible for Gerry to get killed. So it was really important for Gerry to find a removal spell or a good blocker. Fleece Main Line might be perfect here because it's a solid blocker this turn and then turns into a solid attacker next turn.
He's a great blocker. That much is true. On Gerry's side, that's going to be Siege Rhino and Monstrosity immediately. Turn 4 over to Sean. He does have some draws that help him out here.
But now Farika doesn't do anything because Gerry can simply fly over it.
His draw is Hero's Downfall. That could be enough.
Well, if he downfalls the Dragon Lord Ojutai and gets back a Siege Rhino and connects, he gains a total of 7 life.
Goes to 10, and Gerry has exactly 10 damage. So wow. All right. So that is... It's still good. Yeah, and it was Downfall. That was the draw.
You can see Sean's looking at these cards in the hand like, how do I just not have enough to survive the next turn?
Oh, not to mention, Sean would have to tap his mana Confluence for black mana on that line. So that 1 life point cost puts him back 2.
I said it earlier, I'll say it again. It is nice to have Gerry Thompson back in these tournaments.
It's so close here. Okay, so if the Downfall line doesn't work, does he have anything else? Can he? You're right, he can't just make snakes to block. If he plays Farika, Gerry will still swing everything. And then Sean dies to it.
Right. The hope is you play Farika. Gerry somehow gets scared of attacking on the ground.
Just swings Dragon Lord?
Only swings Dragon Lord Ojutai, you can downfall it. That's about it.
I mean, there's no way Gerry wouldn't swing Fleece Main Lion, though. You know, like you'd have to, right, I know. I'm with you.
That's the best, I think, the best path for Gerry to screw up. It's not going to be good enough, but I think that's the best thing that Sean can do.
Sean takes 1 off his lands there, and that'll be it. Gerry Thompson in 3 defeats Sean Kacalek, and Gerry moves to 7 and 2.
What a great match to conclude the day there. Gerry on a mulligan to 4 game 1, facing down a fast Soren emblem and a Hornet Queen, still made a game out of it. Game 2 had a pretty sizable advantage the entire time, and then game 3, that was a very long, complicated game. Gerry tried to be aggressive early on, slowed things down when it looked like Sean was able to stabilize, played a very good Den Protector, Death Mist Raptor sort of game. And there, Sean not even able to get the draw on extra turns as Gerry set up multiple different angles to get to exactly lethal or close to it on turn number 5.
Yeah.